Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the Patriot franchise here on Pastor's Game 2. Welcome to week 15, and this, well, it's actually week 16, but this is what we're calling I haven't found a name for it. You know what? Chat. Let's ask the chat. I need a name for these videos that will be kind of a look around the league. The plan is to do them like at week 5, at week 10, and at week 15 in the season. I need an official name. What do you guys think? I was thinking about we could do something like around the league or something like that. We could do something that's like Patriot related, like something kind of on theme. I don't know. Curious what you guys think. So if you got some ideas on what we could do we could just do it we could just do around the league. I mean, that's pretty simple, or league update or whatever, but I don't know. Is that boring? I don't know. Maybe it's not boring, but that's what this video is. This video is a look around the league at different points in the season. We just kind of started doing this because, man, as you get later into the franchise, you just kind of lose track of like who's good, who's not good. And, you know, it's easy just to focus on your team. So I wanted it to feel alive as a franchise. And I think that means just kind of looking at some of the storylines of some of the teams around, things going on around the league. And I just thought we would dedicate an episode to that instead of trying to squeeze it into the intros every time we kind of start a game. So today at week 15, or really week 16, it's kind of, man, who's in and who's out, what's going on in the playoffs. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the playoffs, who's the playoff race, who's closing in on that. We're going to look at some of the top teams, just kind of give you a sense of what's going on and what the battles are. We're going to take a look at the playoffs. The major injuries. What are some of the big injuries affecting some of these teams? There are some pretty big ones. And then, of course, we're going to look at our team. My bad. We're going to look at some of the hot and cold teams, particularly as it pertains to like where they were in week 10 and like what's happened since then, especially some of the predictions that I think I made a little bit in that video. And then we're going to look at some players to watch in the Patriots on our team, who's doing what on our team. And then I haven't decided. Maybe we'll do the MVP watch, although it may be funner just to kind of wait and see like what comes out of the MVP. So we'll see what it looks like. We'll see where our time is on that. So that's what this video is. If you're into all of that, man, stick around, check out the video, like and subscribe to the video. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully you'll help us get there. Okay, so now let's take a look at the playoff pictures. We did look at this, and here's your top 7 teams in the AFC. You got the New England Patriots, the Houston Texans number 2, the Bengals number 3, which is the next game we're going to play. We're going to be facing off against the Bengals. Number 4 is the Raiders. 5 is the Bills. 6 is the Steelers. 7 is Jacksonville. And of course, you can see it over here in New York. So you got the Rams, Packers, Bucks, the Bears, Panthers, and Falcons. Now, you should remember this because a lot of these teams do have big injuries when we get to the injury thing. And I think this could really, I don't know, it could get shaken up with the way the injuries are, especially over here. Falcons barely hanging in, man. Shout out to the Falcons, man. What you see, what's going on with them? Okay, so that's what's going on now. What is it actually like? How safe are those teams? Like, what's the race look like? Obviously, we can see the AFC really pretty here with all the colors. I don't know why they don't have just a quick little button to go to the NFC that you can see the same thing. Matt, and I hope you're listening. It'd be great just to be able to do that. But here we go. It's the AFC, and you can see, man, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Cincy in the AFC North. That is a super close division. Anything can happen over there. Baltimore out right now, but not really. You know, I guess they're out because they lost against those teams, but the AFC North, and Lamar Jackson is coming back. He was injured for about 4 or 5 weeks, and Baltimore is going to get their main guy back. So AFC North is kind of a toss-up, obviously. AFC West, man, the Raiders. We're going to talk about them a little bit later, but the Raiders started out 1-3 at the beginning of the season. So they started out as a championship contender team. And then they went to basically a rebuilding team based on their record. And now they sit in the top of the AFC West. very interesting to see what's going to happen in that particular team. And they've got 3 tough games to play before they go out. If you take a look at the Raider, schedule, they've got the Chiefs, tough game. They've got us, tough game. Texans, number 2 AFC team. They got 3 really tough games. So the Raiders, man, if they can win out, that will be a big piece for them, 100%. Looking at the NFC, if we were to kind of get back here and check out the NFC, let's go to the NFC North. I kind of looked at this before a little bit. NFC North, here's you got the Packers and the Bears kind of battling out there. That's going to be a very interesting thing. They're 9-5 and playing each other, of course. And the NFC South is a very competitive. Falcons, Panthers, Bucks, all three of those teams battling it out. Now, I think Panthers and Bucks were in the playoff picture, but again, we have 3 or 4 weeks to go. So that's what it's looking like, man. Everything else in the NFC is not really all that interesting. Giants already got that locked up. I think the West we saw. The South, yeah, competitive. And the Bears there. What am I missing? North, South, East. Yes, the Giants there. West. So we didn't talk about the West. The Rams, yeah. And then this is a pretty weak division here. So that's a look, man, at all the players, at the teams, if you will, and their records, and how things could probably shake up. Now, if we check out some of the top injuries in the team or in the league, I'll just take you to some of the teams that I know have some tough stuff. The Bears are, important team, or have some important games. They're missing a couple really good players here. Shamar Turner and Darnell Wright. Basically, 3 to 5 weeks. The rest of the season for both of those guys could be some difference makers. We'll have to see what's going on with the Bears, but that's a pretty big one there. The Bills have a guy missing as well. Defensive tackle, 85. TJ Sanders out 1 to 3 weeks. Could be out for the rest of the regular season, returning at the playoffs. So that's a big deal. But so far, we hadn't seen any huge names until we get to Vita Vea. He's a little bit older, 33. He's week to week, so he's out this week. Could be back next week, but he's a 90 overall. And the Bucks, man, they're fighting for playoff position. We saw them. They're part of that Falcons-Panthers, Bucks sort of competition over there. So this could be a big factor for them. They obviously want to get him back as soon as they can. Commanders have some pretty big, they're not really in it though, but look at the work here, man. Trey Amos, they've got a lot of players that's out and out for the rest of the season, out for the rest of the season, out for the rest of the season. Again, when I'm saying season, I'm really saying regular season, although this could be through the playoffs if they were to get in there. I don't think the Commanders have an opportunity to really do that. But yeah, cornerbacks are down. The lead, I think that's the lead running back there, or at least the backup. So this may explain why the NFC East so easy for the Giants to sort of take control there. Same thing with the Cowboys. They got some players missing here. George Pickens has been out, but everybody's week to week, so they could be getting everybody back really soon. But these are some pretty big players for this week. Not sure that the Cowboys are it really matters for them. Saying Eagles are in the mix, I believe. I had to go back and look. Missing some key players though, especially right here at the center, the 84. Missing Quinyon Mitchell at the corner position. So there's the Eagles. There's another one. Now here's the one. The Falcons. Oh my gosh, this is crazy to me. The Falcons are in the hunt. And look at these injuries. Now, Bijan Robinson has been injured since week 10 at least. So he's finally coming back potentially week to week, could come back next week right in time for the playoffs. So if they could keep it going, that'd be really cool for them. But Michael Penix, which is the starting quarterback, Aiden O'Connell, which is the backup quarterback, both of them out. Penix out for 4 to 8 weeks, obviously, and he could be out for the rest of the playoffs, Aiden O'Connell has been the guy. And let's take a look at how Aiden has been playing. Curious to see because he's had to step in, former Raider. Okay, here's week 12. So he's been playing since week 4. Phoenix went out in week 4. And 266, 362, threw 2 interceptions that game though. 366, sorry. Lost against the Rams, beat the Lions, okay. Beat the Raiders, beat the Chargers, lost against them. Man, I think Aiden's kind of, he's not been too bad. It's funny, man. His best game against the Bucks. And what is the schedule like for the Falcons? Wait a minute, that's not what I want. I do want a schedule. Team schedule. Let's see what the Falcons got the rest of this season. Really curious to see, man, because if the Falcons can really turn this season around, that would be crazy work for me. 2 wins, 2 losses. Okay, who are they playing? Okay, 49ers should be an easy game. Panthers should be a fight. Cardinals could be an easy game. They could win the next 2 out of 3. And if they did, that would put them in pretty good position to actually get into the playoffs. So shout out to the Falcons having an opportunity to get it done. Crazy work. All right, let's keep going. The Steelers, of course, we're paying attention to the Steelers. We got a lot of our former players over there. Pat Freiermuth is out, Peyton Wilson's out, and Travion Henderson, superstar X Factor, out 3 to 7 weeks, could be out for the rest of the season. And Pittsburgh has been playing so well and fighting for their spot in a very, very crowded AFC North playoff race. Very curious to see how that's going to work out for Pittsburgh, but that is a big injury for them, 100%. And then finally, we got the Texans have some pretty big players out too. Number 2 team in the league, Nico Collins, best receiver for, I believe that's their top guy, out 3 to 5 weeks. Will Anderson, edge guy, excellent player on the edge, superstar X Factor, out for 3 to 5 weeks. Defensive tackle Brian Brees, major contributor on the defensive line, out 3 to 5 weeks. Tough time to have those injuries, especially as they go into the playoffs. They've been holding it down, but let's see, how long has he been out? Curious to see how long he's been out. Well, he's been playing, looks like. Okay, so he maybe just got out, man. So we'll have to see what's going on with Houston. Houston also, they have, let's see what the rest of their schedule is. I think we're in the mix, right? Oh no, the Raiders. They got to play the Raiders. As interesting to see. The Titans, I don't know how tough the Titans are. Colts are not having a good season, so they could get 2 out of 3. They're probably pretty safe to be in the playoffs. They're the number 2 team anyway. If they lose these 3, I don't know that it makes a ton of difference at this point. Yeah, I think they're pretty much in there. This is the one I think is going to change or could change the most. What would happen if the Raiders lost? I wonder. They're 8-6. The Chiefs are 8-6. Man, what a big game when those 2 teams face off in a couple of weeks. Huge deal. So that's what you got, man. And very interesting things going on. Here's some things that we talked about in the last. Okay, let me see. I need to pull up something here. So let me go and grab it real quick, and then I'm gonna pull it up. I have the wrong. There we go. Had the wrongs file up. Okay. All right. So here's a quick look now based on week 15's rankings and kind of we're gonna call it the media, where the media has these guys ranked. Really, this is just Madden. Hold on, I'm gonna take this off because I'm gonna show you where this is coming from if you've never done it before. So if you go over here to options and you go to user teams, hit select, and then hit triangle to add new character. You're not actually going to add a new character.
Choose which team you'll begin your franchise.
But here, they're going to rank the teams. This is a pretty good screen, actually, if you've never seen it before. It's an overall. You get the overall in the top right, but you get the NFL ranking there. I think that's actually really cool. I'd like to do something with this at some point with the left, but I just don't have the time. You see all the hidden dev traits and the superstar X factors, but the big thing is right there underneath franchise info. You see division, and you see that status is playoff helpful, salary cap, all that. Actually, just the playoff helpful is the thing that I'm using. Now, what I learned, I thought this was set in the beginning of the season and then it was done, but this is actually a pretty dynamic screen. As you move along the season, those designations, those statuses change. And so what I'm doing in week 5 and week 10 and week 15 is I'm basically going to chart how each team is ranked. And the ones that are listed as championship contenders and playoff hopefuls and rebuilding teams, we're going to just have this chart as a part of this sort of around the league video that we're working on. And so that's the idea. So here, basically, the Madden media has determined, that's not my determination, has determined who the championship contenders are, who the playoff hopefuls are, and who the rebuilding teams are. And this is it. So if you look at the previous video, which I encourage you to do, you can at least see this screen there, and you would see where some of this stuff has really changed. At the beginning of the season, the Raiders were the big team, were one of the potential championship contenders. Man, a lot of teams were that way. The Ravens, I think, were in that list. Let's see, who else? There was a few other teams. So it has definitely shifted a little bit in this particular deal. Some of the teams that were rebuilding have moved to playoff hopeful, blah, blah, blah. You get it. So in week 10, we were talking about the Bears. They kind of had, moved up or were outperforming their piece. I initially had claimed them, are they for real or are they a fraud? I claimed they were a fraud, thinking they had a pretty low strength of schedule. But it looks like the Bears are in the mix, man. The Bears are playing well and could potentially end up in the playoffs if they can find a way to get a couple of wins. And they're competing with the Packers. Packers are in the playoffs, of course. So Bears could be a real thing. The Giants was the team that we looked at there, and the Giants have been there the whole time. They've been a legit team. The Jaguars, I called them legit, but the Jaguars started losing games, kind of moved out of championship contender status to that playoff hopefuls status. At the time, we were like, man, the Jaguars are going to have to, they've got a game against the Steelers, and I think they lost that game. The Jets were moving up. They almost was in championship contender territory, but we thought that was a fraud. We knew that wasn't going to be the thing. I called the Panthers a fraud, but the Panthers are in the playoffs. And, depending on what happens with the Falcons and the Bucks, maybe I'm right, but they have a tough division. Same thing with the, but they have a weak schedule the rest of the way, the Panthers do. In fact, let me get off that screen a little bit so you guys can kind of see some of it. Looking at the Panthers here. Panthers strength of schedule. Yeah, so we know the Panthers. We saw the Falcons, but the Panthers have week 17 is gonna be a big one. Ooh, they got the Chargers and the Packers. Carolina's got it tough. I think they're tied for their division there. Carolina's got it tough. 100%. They have it tough. For sure. Yeah, they're struggling there. Hold on 1 second. Pop my little screen back up here. Since we're looking at the Panthers, let's look at the Bucks. Those are 3 teams that they're gonna be in it. Let's see what the Bucks have here. Cardinals winnable. Ooh, 3 winnable games. You know what? Panthers, I don't think the Panthers are gonna make it. They have the toughest schedule. Bucks have the easiest schedule. Falcons felt like they were going to be at least 2 and 3. At least 2 out of 3 teams they were going to play were tougher. This team did beat the Falcons, though. That was probably a big game for the Falcons. Wow. The Ravens, former championship contender team, did get demoted, probably because Lamar was out. You see this here. This is what they start to see without Lamar Jackson. They end up losing 4 of the 5 games. They able to get that one game over the Browns though, and I think that was enough. It being a division game to kind of keep them in place. Lamar is back. He should be able to win over the Dolphins. Chiefs should be a tough game, but the Cowboys I don't believe will be a tough game. So they should have a pretty good chance to win out there. And then the Texans was a team that we're looking at as a hot team that we felt like was legit, and they're definitely been legit. I know we already looked at those. The teams that started out really cold, man, the Raiders were one of the teams that started out cold. They recovered, and the Raiders have an opportunity to definitely get something going. The Lions, which is an 87 overall team, still struggling, man. Look at this. Man, they started out with 0-6. Wow, 1-8, 2-10. Wow. So 4-10, I think it is. That's crazy work. Lions are pretty much out of it. So they're a cold team and still cold. Gibbs has been out since week 2. They've got the big injury. Did I talk about that? I didn't. Let's look at the Lions injury. I may not have. Is he back? He may be back. It doesn't matter though. I mean, their record is pretty bad. He is back. So Gibbs is back in the lineup. But they do have these are not huge injuries for them. Okay, so Gibbs is back. We'll see what the Lions can do. The Browns was a cold team. They were also a championship contender team. And they are not anymore. But they are, yeah. In fact, the Browns were projected to win the AFC North at the beginning of the year. I mean, it could happen. If they win out, statistically, they have a shot. I think. I don't know. The Browns are struggling. I don't think they're going to get in the playoffs. And the Cardinals was also a pretty bad team. All right, now let's take a look at let's take a look at some of the highlights for our team. We talked about everybody else. Let's talk a little bit about us. Looking at the stats here. Let's see, what's the best way to do this? Sometimes I get my screen mixed up. Here we go. Here's a few players to kind of talk about. Well, last time we talked about this, Adonai Mitchell. Let's go this way. Adonai Mitchell was wowing everybody. He's cooled off a little bit. We haven't gone to him as much over the last 5 weeks. He's still got a 1,000-yard season though. In fact, Rodney Stevenson has 2 receivers with 1,000-yard seasons, and potentially 3. Potentially 3 if Jason Stevens can, rack up some yards over the next 2 games. So Adonai Mitchell, still a good player, cooled off a little bit. This is him. Cooled off a little bit, I think. So let's take a look at the stats real quick. So looking at week 1, yeah, he had 112, 104, 110, 153. And really since week 10, he hadn't reached a 100-yard game yet. Although 7 catches for 81 yards, he did kind of resurge here. 6 catches for 66 against the Dolphins. So he's in the offense, but he's just not putting up the same kind of numbers that he was putting at the beginning of the year. Close though, 81 to 74 are still nothing to sniff at there. He's doing pretty good. A player that's really stepped up is we've been talking about the battle in the backfield, and so you see that Cedric Gatewood is now leading the league with the most rushing yards with 1,044, and that's just because the computer's so bad at running. But check this out. Okay, so here you have Huff and Gatewood. They've had pretty similar carries, but Gatewood has definitely been the better runner. He's got the more touchdowns. Huff started with the most. You see Stevenson there with 8 touchdowns. But let's take a look at how this went with him. Cedric Gatewood has really stepped up. He's had a dev upgrade. But looking at the statistics, 40-50, he had his first 100-yard game against the Bills. No 100-yard games. In fact, this is a 36 here on week 11, 38 on week 9 with the Browns. He had 97 with the Seahawks. But then suddenly 1, 2, 3, 4 games in a row with over 100 yards. And suddenly that is enough to get him in the lead for everything. And we've still been playing a committee backfield. And so both players are getting the ball, but Gatewood has definitely made the most of his play, and it's a surprise to me that he is leading the league the way that he is. Other players that you see here, you see Cooper Boyle. He's got 14 sacks. He's up in the lead with the top 3 in that particular category, so that is cool for him. And since we're looking at it, let's just pop over here to the sack category. We have a lot of guys with sacks. Drew Sanders right there. Tim Haynes, the rookie, has 8.5, and he's making a case for rookie of the year with the type of play that he's had with getting to the QB. And we've had Milton Williams having a much better year this year getting to the quarterback. So lots of really good defensive play there by some key players. Other players to keep an eye on, Kurt Weber has really been solid. Although look at Will Johnson tied up there with him with tackles, and Gonzalez with tackles. That's really interesting. I didn't realize Gonzalez had that many tackles, but he does. Interesting. But Kurt Weber's been an all-around player. He's got the tackles. He's also playing the box for us. He's got an interception. He's got 9 pass deflections. He's literally doing everything. Tackling, knocking the ball down, getting to the quarterback. He is doing all of it, even has an interception. And I think he may have recovered a fumble. Yeah, he did. So I think he's our best defensive player. He has just been solid, man. What a player. What a play from him. He's a solid player for us. Love it. Love it. Kurt Weber is the man. He is the man. However, the other player that is something to note is Joel Wheeler. Look at this number, 21 pass deflections. You know, pass deflections is one of those stats that you just don't get a lot of. I usually don't get a lot of those. He's got 21. That's a lot. He's got 21. For some reason, it doesn't show up when you do the NFL here. If I do this and I go to deflections, he should be the top guy. He's not. Christian Gonzalez shows at the top person for the NFL, so I don't know if that's a bug or I don't know what's causing him to not show up. But 13 is leading, and he has 21. So 13 is like Nick Bolton here, 11. So very interesting. I think they're just throwing to him instead of Gonzalez, although Gonzalez has a lot of them too. So Joel Wheeler has been noticeably better this season. And then lastly, well, not really lastly, we know we got the mainstays. Rodney Stevenson leading the league in passing yards, 4,230 yards, has 42 touchdowns, although right behind him is Burrow and Caleb Williams. This is the thing that's hurt him and his MVP candidacy, and that is that 14 interceptions. But I don't know, man. Can he make up for it with yardage? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to determine it, whether he's get the MVP or not. He also is leading all quarterbacks with rushing and rushing TDs, but Rodney Stevenson playing very well. And then we have, we talked about it already, but Jason Stevens is in the mix. Jason Stevens is in the mix. Wait a minute. There it is. Jason Stevens. Jason Stevens has just been a solid dude, man. 65 catches. I think he's tied for the lead with most catches. Probably one of our most reliable. Yep. 811 yards. Been good. 10 touchdowns. Man, he's been solid. So he's been good. Of course, Malik Lincoln, he's got the 1,000 yards, and we didn't highlight him, but he, as you know, the statesman, is doing his thing. So there you go, man. That's a look at kind of what's going on around the league. Here's your little around the league episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I won't look at the MVP watch. I don't think we need to look at that. But the next game will be the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to come out. They're ready to do their thing. It kind of matters. You know what? You know what I will do? Let's go and look at let's look at our schedule. See who we got going on. So we got the Bengals, tough game. I think the Raiders are going to be a tough game. The Jets will not be. I don't believe the Jets will be a tough game. And it doesn't matter whether we win. We're in already, so we could just spoil stuff for people. I'm happy to spoil it for the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals are the team. Are they the team that beat us? No, the Ravens beat us. Yeah, the Bengals can get some. I'm happy to do the thing against them. But that'll be what's next. We'll see what it looks like. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed that particular look around the league. And let me know if you like these. Shoot me a name. What are the name of these videos? Maybe I'll let's see if we can figure something out. But yeah, this is Pastors Game 2. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thoroughly appreciate it. God loves you and so do I. And I will see you when I see you. Peace.